Welcome, everybody. Happy to see you all here in another Ops Experts Club. Ops, of course, short for operations. I don't know what else it would mean. Ben, you got any ideas?
I thought it was short for operable machinery. That was the best I could come up with.
Opposites. There we go.
For the opposite
Club.
experts.
Welcome, everybody. Good to see you, Savannah. Good to see you, Ben.
Good to
on
see
this
you.
lovely Thursday. Thanks for joining us today. So last week had a fun conversation with Laurel, executive assistant to Pete Vargas at Eternal Ventures, overseeing multiple companies right now as they have expanded into different areas, which is pretty awesome for them. Love working with Pete Vargas. Laurel was awesome to listen to. It's fun to hear people stepping into new roles and just kicking a lot of butt at it.
Kicking butt, yeah, I would say for sure Laurel is kicking butt.
Yeah. And also fun just to hear about, when you hit that point in your work where it kind of switches and you get to meet actual people, and it's like, oh, these aren't just faces on a screen anymore. They've got lower halves and legs and wear pants just like I do. We're all the same.
Yep. It was also nice to hear, like, it's refreshing to hear people, which I guess we're spoiled. We get to hear all the time, but people who actually enjoy what they do and who they work for. Like, it was nice to hear her talk about, Pete, the CEO, the visionary, and an actual you could tell that she respected him and respected what he does and respected him as a visionary. I think so many times out in I wouldn't say the real world, but out in the corporate world, you hear from people who are just like, for this guy, I hate his job, I hate going to the office, I hate how I just you're like, man, why are you working there? But it's just refreshing to hear from somebody like Laurel, who is doing, like, I mean, arguably, like, she's doing a lot too. Like, her day is full, she's working and running hard, but like, have a respect for who she's working for and the company she's working for. It's nice to hear that. You're like, oh wow, there are actually people out there who enjoy doing what they do.
Well, and because EAs can get kind of chewed up, because visionaries, especially like where Pete is, she even mentioned he's just like, he's a high visionary, like he's fast moving, he's got a lot on his mind. And so it is nice to hear that, like, there is that good balance there, that, she's been there for a year now and she's still thriving. And because a lot of time you'll see EAs last for, like 3 months and it's a lot. So
I think it's a testament too. I mean, we highlighted it when we were talking to her, but just her, and I think, I mean, also a testament to Pete too, like their boundaries that they set up, it seemed like really quick of like, hey, I know you like to use Voxer, and Voxer can get overwhelming. Like, we've seen that. And how she's like, he uses it as a brain dump, and that's totally great. And we've set this boundary where it's, I have my evening, wife, mom time, and you're free to brain dump all you want in Voxer. Just know, that I'm not going to be listening to it at, 10 p.m. at night. But if it's an emergency, you can text me. And so, like, they have this cool dynamic set up where he has the opportunity to brain dump like he needs to, and she has the opportunity to be like, hey, this is my home time, and it works for them. I think that's those boundaries. I think we've talked about it so often on Ops Experts of setting up boundaries for operations people. Otherwise, we're just like, working all the time and never have that home life. So I think that was a really cool aspect that she highlighted, is like, man, like, it was smart. She's only a year in, but set up great boundaries, and it shows that, with those boundaries, you can actually last in a high functioning, fast running environment.
Yeah, and healthy business owners, of course, create healthy businesses.
Yep.
So if family life balance is important to the owner, then he definitely would respect that when his EA is trying to incorporate that into their schedule as well. Yeah. So it's just awesome to see that, because I'm sure that does help lead to Laurel's success in being able to do this role as long as she has, without being chewed up.
Yeah. I've definitely been in those positions in the past where there's not that healthy home life balance, and you're like, oh man, is this a burn down the house fire at 11:30 at night? Like, is this really necessary? And those things weigh on you, and those are the types of situations that cause your employees to go, I'm going to look for an exit actually, because this just isn't sustainable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to what you said about just our positivity and excitement in the role is that's something we've seen with everybody we bring in, is all these awesome experts, successful people that we get a lovely chance to talk with, just love what they do. And it truly shows in their work, and attitude can really make a big difference in what you're doing and who you're working with, and the type of opportunities people are willing to give you. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
I think I also really like just that she applied for a completely different role in the company because she had such a good attitude, and they were like, you're a great culture fit. Like, let's figure out where you can work. And then so they had to figure out where to plug her in, but she was so invaluable to them that they figured it out. And I think that that's there's a lot of people that are trying to break into the like work from home business operations thing right now. And I just feel like that was an important note of like, don't just go for the absolute thing that you maybe want in the moment. Like maybe, suck it up and work in something that you might not want, as if it's a company that you really want to work for. And then once you're in there, there's going to be gaps, and you can show, what you can do and fill those gaps, and then move to something that fits better. Or you might get in there and decide that you don't like it and you got to move on. But either way, just getting your foot in the door.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen that like with almost everybody we've talked to, right? They come into an organization, they're like, I'm really good at this one thing. Like, I just would love to work with your organization doing this one thing. And they end up working there for a little while, and the organization goes, no, actually, we think you're way better at doing this, and we should move. I mean, the same thing with like Gian. I remember we talked with Gian, with John Acuff. He was like, I can do social media. And they're like, yeah, you can, but also we'd like you to run our operations. Like just getting your foot in the door, like you said, Savannah, into that organization, and then showing the organization that like, look, hey, I may not realize it, but apparently I have a lot more talents that I'm willing to move up in your organization if you give me the chance. Like all of these operations folks start somewhere lower on the totem pole, and then just from the sheer fact that they love what they do, they love who they're working for, it kind of shines their work ethic and whoop right up to the top.
Yeah.
It's the nice part about working for smaller teams is when you don't necessarily need to hire one dedicated new person. You just kind of find people. And it's like, well, we've got this position, and it's not a 40-hour-a-week position. It's more like a 5-hour-a-week position. So who's going to hold this little piece, and who's going to learn this new skill? And maybe by the time we become a big company, you are that 40-hour-a-week person. And before you know it, you're one of the leaders on the team, all because you started out with this tiny chunk because the company's small, only needed 5 hours a week. It just gives really great opportunities to people you already have that they might not even have thought they'd be into.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Awesome. All right. Well, this week we're also going to have a cool tool presentation. That's a cool tool, is what we'll say at the end. That's when cool we're done hearing from Savannah. So Savannah, pretty excited to see this, as this is very current, and some of our new clients are working with on helping them determine whether or not they need to, and if they need to, which one to choose. So I'm not going to say too much. I'm just going to leave it at that and let you kind of introduce the topic and show us what you got with your cool tool.
Cool. So I'm keeping it like super summed up. So this isn't going to be a super in-depth tour. I just want to, because we got 20 minutes, and I might get but I do talk fast. We'll see how this goes. Anyway, I prepared a slideshow because that's what I do. And we're going to be talking about Help Scout, which is an alternative to Zendesk. And you guys know that I live in Zendesk a lot, and I love Zendesk. And it's usually what I set up our clients with when they need a customer support software, when they're ready to upgrade from just answering things via email, usually when they're expanding their team. But as you guys also know, Zendesk can get kind of expensive. And as they are getting more and more popular and more bigger, they're getting a little bit more expensive. And thankfully, that means that smaller companies are rising up in their shadow and doing also cool features that are very similar to Zendesk, but at a lesser cost. So I spent a little time just kind of digging into a few different alternatives, because I know that we have some clients coming up on the horizon that are a little bit smaller, probably not ready for something as big as Zendesk, especially with the new way that they've rolled out their tiers. They are kind of phasing out their like little teeny tiers that that I kind of favored before. And Help Scout just looked like a great option. So I signed up for a trial and got to play a little bit in there. And unfortunately, my trial has expired. So that's part of why we're not going to be taking a super in-depth look. But I did make some slides based on my notes. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Nice. Cool. I feel like lately Zendesk has just turned into that $5 all-you-can-eat taco bar. But then you don't realize it says, with purchase of 2 alcoholic drinks, rice and beans are extra, no salsas. So you go there for the $5 all-you-can-eat taco bar, and you end up spending $50.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Or you go for the taco bar and you're like, this has like 1,000 things, but I really only wanted tacos. So like, why am I paying for everything else?
Yeah, and that's so a side note, I am going to talk a little bit about pricing in a couple slides down the line, but I went today to do a little bit of itemized pricing that I wanted to include in the slideshow. And it used to be that you could go to the website and you could look at like, a la carte, like we only need email support right now. We don't need a big thing. We just need like a more extensive way that our team can talk to each other in an inbox and deal with email. They don't show you pricing for that anymore. They will not, like, it's not something that they're entertaining. They want you to buy the whole suite where it's the support and the live chat and the help center and the reporting that starts at $60 a user. And so I'm sure that if you contact them, they'll let you get into the lower tier. I bet, because I kept like going to their help bot and just being like, price list, price chart, support, like Zendesk support, like not suite, just team. And they're just like, do you want to talk to a salesperson? Sounds like you want to talk to a salesperson. You just talk to a salesperson. I'm like, I don't want to talk to a salesperson. Just give me your chart. And so I gave up. And so anyway, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I think that's really interesting. And that is new within the last couple of months. And they kind of hinted at that at their last webinar that I went to when they were talking about new things on the horizon. But yeah, so I think we're going to be doing less Zendesk, which is interesting to me. Mm-hmm. So, oh no, there we go. So a little overview of what we're talking about. I'm going to just talk about a couple of different options that are also out there, just so you know that it's not like Zendesk or Help Scout. A couple notes on pricing difference, a note on their user-friendly terminology, and then we're going to go to a couple examples of help centers that are using Help Scout that might surprise you. So this is just a small handful. There are so many different options right now that it's actually kind of overwhelming. But I just wanted to point out that like, when you're making this leap, it can be kind of a big leap if you've just been living in Gmail for a long time. And so you're going to be setting up automations. You're going to be setting up automated responses. You're probably going to be setting up a help center. You want to make sure that you have done a little bit of research into different platform options before you jump in, just because, once you start setting it up, you're kind of committed. It is kind of a pain in the butt to switch midstream. And so, so just be thinking about like where you're at, where you're headed, how big your team is, what your budget is, like just there's so many options. So, obviously Zendesk, HubSpot. What's cool about HubSpot is they're kind of a CRM at the same time. And same with Zoho Desk. So those are two options that if you're also looking into, if your company needs multiple things at the same time, if you're looking for a CRM, if you're looking for, I think HubSpot, one of their main things is also like eBlasts and stuff. So if you're trying to check off a couple boxes at once, maybe check out HubSpot and Zoho Desk, or just Zoho in general, because it's going to solve a few issues for you at once. Zoho, when I looked at them, they were like very inexpensive, especially for what you get because of it covering lots of things. But the interface was ugly. Like, so if that's important to you and you think you're going to have to be training a lot of people on it, I think that like the Zoho Desk one would probably be a little bit tougher to train on, just because, you don't really want to look at it for a long time.
Yeah.
And Freshdesk
too.
What was that?
Fresh is a full suite of products.
Oh, is it? They do CRM and everything too? I didn't know that.
They have
So
Fresh Books, Fresh Sales, and Fresh Desk, maybe another Fresh.
okay, that might be worth looking into too. This Fresh Desk is the one that I keep seeing being pushed as the like immediate alternate to Zendesk. So I don't know if their features might like be a easier, flat across the board. Like if you're gonna switch, then maybe it might be the most similar interface.
Interesting. There is something to say though, like if you are looking for a CRM and a help desk, like having something that is basically natively integrated so that your CRM can pull in all of your customers like help requests too. I mean, that would be super nice versus having to figure out integration yourself.
And a note about this, because Zendesk and Infusionsoft is like kind of a really popular CRM that we help our clients with. Zendesk does not integrate with Keap/Infusionsoft. Help Scout does. I don't know what that might be like on the Infusionsoft side. I don't know how well those things pull in. I don't know how well Infusionsoft pulls in like that other information, but in Help Scout, you can pull up the customer's profile, how much they spent, like lifetime. And I think you can even look at like individual purchases and tags. And so you can make it so the tags interact with how they're tagged in Help Scout. And Zendesk, you can do some things with Zapier, but it takes you like 17 steps to do something that you could just integrate and then just have it like right there. So
interesting.
So Help Scout, they do have a few different tiers that you can choose, but $25 per user gets you basically like what we set up our clients with Zendesk. And so this is a monthly price. It's even cheaper if you sign up for annual. But it includes your help center, it includes live chat, it includes your little like widget guy, and it includes custom reporting.
Wow.
So Zendesk, where we have still some people on the lower tier plan, you have to pay extra if you want the help desk. Again, I couldn't find it itemized for you guys, which is what I wanted. It does not include live chat, which is quite expensive in Zendesk to add that onto your plan. And it does not include custom reporting. You do get basic reporting in Zendesk, but you can't look up anything based on tags. You can't set up any like saved dashboards. You can just look up like onesie twosie information. Otherwise they want to charge you extra for that as well. So it adds up really fast in Zendesk, especially if you're a smaller team. It just can get out of hand really fast, like the taco bar that has all the added fun stuff. So
user is not bad. That's not bad.
Can you remind us what Help Desk is and why that part is so beautiful?
Yes. So Help Desk is basically a little contained support website that you can set up a custom link to, and your customers go there to basically answer their own questions before they reach out to your team. So most of them, which is the tour that I'm going to take us on, I'm going to take you to a couple of different help centers, and they can type in their question, and then based on keywords, it'll bring up articles that you've already created that has the answer to their question. So it'll have FAQ, it might have your refund policy, it might just direct them to, like Facebook groups or whatever that you have that are linked to their purchases. So things that obviously you don't want to give away, information that is paid information if they need to like buy a product first. But if your customer wants to make an informed decision before making a purchase, you have those logical buyers and you want to answer all of those questions before taking up your team's time, you can have all that set up in a help desk. And then if it's a really fancy help desk, you might even have like a little bot that will answer your questions also before they get to a team member, which is just really helpful.
Honestly, I mean, that's how like if I'm ever on a platform, I would much rather go to an FAQ page and just find it myself than have to like go through a live chat. So I'm always like, oh man, are they going to try and sell me? I'm gonna have to go through like a sales pitch, like all this stuff. Just give me an FAQ page. I'll be like, oh, that's what it is. Perfect. Take me 30 seconds of research. I don't have to talk to you and have you try and sell me.
Like Zendesk trying to push me to a salesperson to ask a simple question when I just want to itemize like list of what's possible. And yeah, I hate that. Like sometimes when you have like a technical issue, you want to talk to a person as soon as you can. But for the most part, like people just want to get in and get the answer without having to interact with anybody. So something else that I really loved about Help Scout compared to Zendesk, and it's something that like I kind of recognized it as like something that we see when we're helping clients when they scale really fast, is that when Colab comes in, we kind of help them simplify their processes with like SOPs and everything. Because when someone grows really fast, they're just kind of like throwing noodles at the wall to see what sticks, and things get really complicated. And when you go into Zendesk, I was just realizing how it feels like they were throwing noodles at the wall, like to get to certain features to set up like triggers and automations and things. It should be pretty simple to get to, but you have to go to this menu. And then within this menu, there's another menu. And from that menu, you go to this page. And with that page, you have to go into this menu. And then from there, it's called this terminology that they decided that they wanted to have like their own branded phrase for it. And then you find it. So it's fun if you're like high fact finding and like to solve puzzles like me, like it makes it like a game. But then at the same time, if you're trying to train 4 new people on how to do that thing so that you don't have to do it yourself, kind of a pain in the butt. Yeah. So what I loved about Help Scout when I logged in is all of your like admin features and things that you want to do is just a simple list that you pick from the left-hand panel when you log in. Like it's like you want to go to your inbox, you want to go to settings, you want to go to this, that, like it's all just right there. Because in Zendesk, like if you want to go to different features, there's some things in the left-hand panel. There's some things in the top right corner. When you click the top right corner, then you're going to pick that and that's going to take you to a different site. And then you have a whole other left-hand panel and a right hand. It's like, it's a lot. And so for triggers and automations, there's just a thing on the left-hand panel that says workflows. And that to me, like that verbiage, like that makes so much sense. And everything is just contained in workflows and you just set it up right in there. Like that just, like that's so easy to train someone. Macros, that's such a strange term for a saved reply, and help desk is just called saved replies. And it's like, or not help desk, Help Scout. Like that just makes sense, like you want to save your replies that you're going to click to people. Like that's so much easier to talk about. And I think it's even the same in chat. Same thing. It's just, you're just choosing a saved reply. Like that just makes sense. Because in chat in Zendesk, it's called a shortcut, which I feel like is not, because you're not doing like a hyperkey thing. So and then Help Center, this one isn't necessarily like better or worse to me, but it's just a note that in Help Scout it's called knowledge base. But still, like you say that to a customer, they're going to know what exactly it is, like where I said Help Center a few slides back and Taryn's like, can you tell us what that means? So knowledge base, like, it just kind of makes sense. So I see Help Scout being a much easier thing to jump into, to train your team on and get people started, within a few days versus Zendesk, where I typically have to create people a big library within Google, where I have like terminology, I have looms on where to find like each different thing that they have to get to, because it's hard to remember. And when you're training a lot of people, like I'm not going to show someone 5 times that you have to click this and this and this and this and this and this. And oh, by the way, it's called this. Like, so anyway, I think that people will have a much easier time scaling with Help Scout than with Zendesk.
It seems too like it's just efficiency wise that Help Scout is the winner. Cause like if you have somebody who's say on a live chat or in customer support, you don't want them wasting time just trying to figure out where they're going and trying to get information to get to the customer. Like you want them spending the majority of their time actually talking and working with the customer. Like if they're spending all that time, especially in live chat, where maybe you've got 5 chats lined up from customers, like if you're spending all this time trying to figure out where to go, like I just need to get an answer to this person. It seems like Help Scout would be a way more efficient way of doing that.
Yeah. And not to, like ruin my own job security, but as Zendesk has gotten more complicated over the last couple of years, I've noticed that a large portion of my job now is just watching Slack for our clients, trying to figure out where things are in Zendesk. And they're like, I don't know how to edit this thing. Like we need to just get this changed really quick. Savannah, can you jump in there and do it because you know where it's at? And then, so like, I appreciate that because, it's my job, but also like, it doesn't have to be like that,
Yeah.
And I feel like Zendesk has kind of shot themselves in the foot the last couple of years by overcomplicating things and doing that. So, so interesting to note.
Ooh,
I don't know if anyone knows who these are, but these are the little Einsteins. No,
Oh,
it's my kid, my 1-year-old's favorite show right now. So I was like, we're not going to do Magic School Bus. We're going to do Rocket from
Magic
Einsteins.
School Bus.
She likes the little theme song. She bops up and down. It's super cute. So I just wanted to take you guys to a couple of examples of knowledge bases that are run by Help Scout. So Honey, I don't know if you guys use Honey. I use Honey all the time because I am a deal hunter. And so I love when it pops up and tells me that I can save money on things and get coupons. So Honey uses their, does their support through Help Scout. And then they even tell you at the bottom, which is kind of fun. But it's a nice little help center. They customize it real cute. So you can search the knowledge base right at the top, just typing in your question. And then they also split it up by category. They have their cute little icons that fits their branding with their coloring and everything. And they tell you how many articles are in each one, and then it'll break it down. So you can continue to search in there. So, I mean, Zendesk does the same thing, but for only, you know, their tier might be a more complicated tier because I'm sure that they get a very high volume of support requests with the size of their company. But just knowing that this is possible with something that's more affordable and simple than Zendesk, I think it's just really powerful to know that it's possible, that you don't have to be using the giant Cadillac software to get this kind of functionality.
And you get that. What does the chat widget look like when you click on it? Nice. That's great.
Yeah, the out-of-the-box user interface of this, for this being their own Help Scout hosted knowledge base, is quite beautiful.
Questions?
Oh, and you just type it. Let's do. Oh my gosh. Because I imagine this is probably a bot.
Amy?
Oh no, maybe it's a person.
You could ask her. Are
You
you
put
a
us right
bot
to a
or real
person.
person?
We'll just see.
I do also like looking at the header. If you scroll all the way to the top, there is a little bit of customization on this, as they were able to add their own button. Add to Chrome, it's free.
Yeah.
So that's cool, because I think what you see in a lot of them is you can't really customize. They're just pretty out of the box.
Well, they have automated responses. I'm going to leave before she actually starts helping me because, oh, okay, we're just going to get out of there. I don't want her to waste her time helping me. But anyway, so that was lovely. And yes, you can customize. So then another surprising user of Help Scout is Trello. Trello uses Help Scout for their support, which I was very surprised by. And so there's, it's interesting that it's like the same, they're using the same software, but theirs is a totally different looking thing. They have the little squares kind of like they did, but it's just a little bit more wordy, which I think makes sense because they're, you know, like they're a project management software versus the other one that's more like, you know, free money and that kind of thing. So they make it just simple to log in. They give you just their basic links, and then they have pretty basic FAQ there.
Interesting.
They don't have a chat widget, it looks like. So you know, you can pick and choose what kind of support you want to do. It looks like they really want to push people to self-help before digging in, which also makes sense because like something like PayPal and like money stuff, you don't want people helping each other.
Fair.
But yeah, so I think those are two like pretty you know, big name examples that like I think it would work really well for a startup, and then it also works obviously pretty well for a big company. And something else that Help Scout offers is they will transfer all of your information from Zendesk for free. So the only thing that they won't transfer is they can't transfer saved replies like your macros. Which I think that Zendesk doesn't do that either. But even Zendesk doesn't transfer your information for free to another Zendesk profile, we helped a client migrate their existing Zendesk account to a new Zendesk account, and we had to pay someone overseas quite a bit of money to do that for them. So Help Scout will do that for you for free if you decide you want to switch. I think that's
interesting.
Wow.
It's a cool tool.
cool.
Cool. That is neat. I am highly looking forward to getting to implement that with somebody.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, I'm kind of like chomping at the bit for someone to decide they want to, because yeah, I only played it in a little bit, and I'm like, we could get this, like I could launch it within like 2 days, I think. I mean, like I could launch Zendesk pretty fast, but it's the training part of it that takes the longest. And I think with Help Scout, like barely any training would even be needed because it's so intuitive. So
Man, that's awesome.
I'm excited.
Thank you, Savannah. I loved seeing Help Scout. Yeah, that's going to be really cool to get to play in. But that's it for today. That's our time. You nailed it on your ending right at 10:30.
Yes.
Just our outro going over a minute. No big deal. So thanks everybody. Ben, Savannah, appreciate you joining us. And we'll see y'all again next week.
Okay, see you next week.
See ya.